Thanks for coming to class today. Once you get acquainted with your equipment, have 4 springs for your footwork to start with. If that feels heavy for your shoulders during the footwork exercises, just drop the green spring and do it on 3 springs. I hope you enjoy class today. If at any point you need a break, you can take a break, or if you need to pause, make sure that you pause so that you know what you are doing. So once your reformer is set, we're going to lie onto our backs and begin our footwork. Again, you are starting with 4 springs on the reformer in a Pilates V, heels together, toes apart. Before you press out, take a moment and just breathe. Have your nose for the ceiling. Reach your ears towards the back wall to create space between your throat. Well, create space for your throat. Shoulders wide, firmly pressing down into the mat. In your Pilates V, start to find a connection through the glutes so that when you press away, you glide. And then you exhale to come back in. Let's use your breath to press out. And the exhale pulls you back in. Again, breathing into the side and the back of the ribcage. Fully exhaling. For 3, 2, and 1 more. Then we're going to move onto the arches. So ideally, we float both feet up at the same time and land on the arches. We're going to do feet together, knees together. Toes wrap, heels drop underneath. The hands stay firmly pressing into the mat. Your inhale takes you out. Your exhale pulls you in. Sacrum stays heavy to help you find your neutral spine. Have the sensation of drawing the abdomen in. Good. 3 more times. Hands firmly pressing into the mat. Last one. Going to the heels next. So just like before, both feet come up at the same time. Let's try landing on the heels. Pull the ball of the foot and the toes back towards you. Here you'll feel the tops of the feet and the shins form up. When you feel that and you feel a slight connection through the back of the leg, start to press out and fully come in. Keeping the entire heel on that foot bar and then back in. Good. Again, pressing away, shoulders wide, lots of space for your throat. 3 more. 2. And then 1 more. Now we're going to go down to the ball of the foot. Let's practice again. Both feet off at the same time. Land on the ball of the foot. The movement will be to lower and lift the heels when the legs are straight, but let's practice that here a couple of times. Where the heels lower under the bar, and then they lift. They're probably not actually going to go under the bar, but you're aiming for under the bar. And then back up 1 more time, lower through the heels. And lift. So now the ankles are pretty warm. Let's go out to straight legs. Engage through the glutes purposely to have your hips leveled out. Start lowering the ankles like you just did, and then lifting up. The knees will be soft as you lower, and they stay soft as you lift. Breathing into the side and the back of the rib cage. Try and take up space with your shoulder blades. Three more times. 2. And last one. Let's bend both knees to go back in. And then we're going to separate the feet up just a couple of inches, have them parallel, press out to straight legs, and again try lowering and lifting the ankles with the feet parallel for a few. And then we're going to turn this into running by alternating the ankles. But before we do that, squeeze the glutes even more so that you feel the back of the leg work, and that will help you stay softer through the knee. And maintain the sensation. On the next one, start to alternate. One heel lowers, the opposite knee bends. and then you switch. Keeping that engagement through the glutes. Trying to keep the weight even on both feet at all times throughout the entire ball of the foot. Good. A couple more on each side. You can also start to pick up the tempo. And then bending both knees to come back in. We will take our legs over the bar, squeeze the legs into each other to practice our T-Serro. Arms up, prep with your inhale. Connect your body and then use your exhale to lift. Once you lift, you can swing the legs over to change your springs. We will be switching to one blue spring and the red on the opposite side. Go ahead and remove the green and the red. So again, you have one blue spring and one red. The foot bar is still up in the middle position. Go onto your back. Make sure you have space for your shoulders. Let's take the feet into the straps right now. So push away from the bar, straight legs, one knee in. Your foot goes into the strap, you stand into it. Keep the carriage in place, other foot goes in. Both legs straighten out. Have them together, toes together, heels together. Lifting the toes up for the ceiling, just noticing what your body feels like. And then lowering again. And then you lift. And then you lower. And as you lift, we pay attention to see what our low back is doing. If it's flattening, this is happening, it's a little bit harder to stay connected to the muscles in the back to pull back down. So when you lower here, find your sacrum heavy. Keep it heavy on the mat. You can even take your hands to your hips to help you support. And then start to lift your legs up for the ceiling. Sacrum stays heavy, the low back stays exactly the same. And you only go as high as you can keep your sacrum heavy. Then you're gonna feel the back of the leg still work, and that can help you lower down. And then we can lift back up. And then we lower down. And we lift back up. And if your hips feel like they're in a good spot, your arms can go out to the side now, firmly pressing into the mat so that your shoulder blades continue to take up space. Good. Once you have this movement going, notice the sensation of the muscles and the activation and all the work through the leg. Legs. And keep it as you start circling. The feet will separate at the top about shoulder width. You lower, back together, and up. So legs come apart. Yes, these look a little bit more like rectangles sometimes. Sometimes they look like ovals or I don't know. All I can think about is a baguette. Circling your legs. It's just the name, not exactly the description. And one more circle here. At the top, you will reverse your circles, reaching straight down through center, apart, back up and together. Again, we lower, back up and together. You have about 4 more circles like this, still focusing on the sacrum, staying heavy. Keeping the palms firmly pressing into the mat and shoulders wide. Then, once you get to the top, turn your legs out to a Pilates, feet about fist width apart with the toes. Lower down, about anywhere between 30 and 45 degrees. Start bending the knees in towards you, keeping the sacrum in the same spot, and then pressing away. Get the sacrum stays in place, you pull the knees in as far as the sacrum stays in place, and then we press away. Again, pull in and press out. Pull in and press out. And having that spot where you keep the sacrum heavy into the mat, it will just allow you to stay connected to the back of the legs a little bit easier than having to go into that stretch, pull down, reconnect, and go back out. 2 more times. And then keeping the legs straight. Once the legs are straight out, stay in that turn. Now the legs will go apart until the carriage starts to move a little bit. And then you pull back together towards center. You stay in the turnout to press apart, and then pull back to center. Good. 4 more, going out to the sides, back to center. 3, 2, and 1 more time. Hold the legs in for a butterfly stretch. You're just going to hold the legs here for a few breaths. So once you do your butterfly stretch for a few breaths, you're going to pull back into that frog position. We're going to frog away, keep the legs straight, sacrum heavy, legs go up to the ceiling. Bend the knees by pulling the heels down. Again, press out, straight legs, squeeze them into each other, and then lift them up to the ceiling. Let's do that 3 more times. You are focusing on keeping the sacrum heavy and allowing the femur, the thigh bone, to roll within the hip socket. And then we will reverse once you pull back to your frog. So from here, the legs now straighten to the ceiling. We use the back of the leg to lower down. Pull back in towards the chest, sacrum heavy. Same focus, we just reverse the pattern. Keep reaching the ears up high. You caught yourself looking at the screen a little bit too much. Remember to keep space for your throat. And as you keep space for your throat, you can then gaze for the screen. That'll also help you kind of train that starting to gaze down for your flexion movement. Last 2. And once more. Good. Pulling the legs in to take off the pull the legs in to take off the straps. We will now have the hands in the straps. So legs to tabletop or into the chest, whatever feels good for you. You're going to start lowering the arms down and then lifting back up. Breathing into the back of the rib cage. Keeping the shoulder blades taking up space. 4 more times, lower down. And lift. And 3, 2, last 1. At the top, let's start opening and closing the arms, trying to keep the carriage completely steady. Good. 2 more times like that. On the next one, then reach the hands down for the hips, back up to the ceiling for arm circles. If you can, squeeze your legs into each other to stay connected through your legs the entire time. Finish out 2 more circles, and once you get to the top, reverse them. As you reverse the circles, you can picture like you're reaching up for the ledge of the pool and you pull yourself out of the pool. Good. 3 more times, keeping your arms connected to your back. 2. Last 1. At the top, reach down for the hips. Let's keep the elbows on the mat to bend. And then reach long to the mat. And again, we bend and reach long to the mat. Nice long ears. Legs continue to squeeze into each other. 3 more. 2. And 1 more. Good. arms go up. This time we're gonna curl up as the hands lower down. So you'll start lifting the neck and shoulders, look for your belly button, reach the arms down, and then going back up. Again, curling up and lower down. Let's try 4 more. Lift. And 3, 2. Stay up on the next one. Pump the arms, breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. And exhale. Breathe in. And exhale. Staying curl. Continue. Try a couple more breaths. And 1 more. Lower the head, arms up to the ceiling. Good job. You're gonna hang up your straps. Take your legs over the bar, heels together, toes apart, arms for the ceiling. Connect your arms to your back. Take an inhale to prep. And as you exhale, squeeze the legs into each other. Stay connected, lift up. Good. Let's go ahead and lower down our foot bar. So to lower down the foot bar, press the 2 little like black plastic things in. Pull the foot bar away. Place the middle part onto the little rubber bands, or not bands, rubber squares, and then keep your foot bar there. You're gonna switch your springs to 1 center red spring. Just 1 spring, center 1. Your box goes over your reformer long ways. You're gonna grab your straps, and then you're going to lie onto your box. Your shoulders will line up with the shoulder blocks. So right about here, the hands are gonna grab right below the hardware. Heels together, squeeze through the glutes. If you feel like your legs are kind of dipping down, just lengthen them back, engage them. You can point a little bit if that's helpful. Then we're gonna drop our head down towards the headrest. The hands are gonna reach on the side of the reformer. Once they're below our shoulders, we lift our head up in alignment with the spine, looking for the little sign in front of us that says balanced body. Then the hands reach back, and you try and lift through the chest, and then we lower down. And that's the entire pattern that we do. So we lift as we reach, extend through our upper back, and then we lower to come forward. We do it again 3 times. 2 more times. And once more. The next one, keep your head in alignment with your spine nice and long. We're still on our abdomen. The hands will walk down a little bit to open them out to the side. Reach them back for the hips as you lift. Stay lifted as they come forward, and then you can go back to neutral. And again, reach up, stay lifted a little bit as you come forward. And 3 more. 2 more times. Last one. Then we hang up the straps. Hang the straps, hug your box. Connect your knees if you can and pull the heels in. You're just gonna push the box like you're trying to push it out from underneath you, lengthen through the neck. Connect the knees, pull the heels, reach out. Pull the heels, pull more, reach out. Again, pull the heels, pull more, reach out once more, pull the heels, pull more, and lengthen away. Then we will step off to the side and switch the box over to short box. For short box, you want your headrest down. the boxes this way. Add on all of your springs for stability. If you're short and you're in the negative gear, get the fussy loop out first. If not, you could always sit. And then your box goes in front of your shoulder blocks, if perhaps your legs are a little bit on the shorter side, or over the shoulder blocks, depending on what gear you have set for yourself. What you want to find here is you want to be able to have your feet in the loop and still have about a hand's width of space behind you on the box, so that when we go back, you have something to support you. If you don't have about a hand's width of space and you have less, then we need to move the box somewhere where it gives you a little bit more support. So from here, your feet will be about hip width apart. You're going to hug yourself. You're going to try and create space between the ribs and the hips. Lightly round the sternum over the rib cage, drawing in the abs. And keeping this shape, we tilt back with an inhale. And then we exhale forward. And again, we tilt back. And then we tilt forward. Reaching the ears nice and long, creating space for the throat. Creating space for the waist. That's an add one. Once more. Arms come up to genie pose. Ooh, my hair did something funky. That's okay. So from genie pose, shoulders wide, start to tilt back like you're a laptop being open, and then tilt forward. Push through the feet to help you tilt back. Sit up even taller than before. Let's go for 4 more. 3. 2. And last one. Good. Let's take the hands behind the head. You can interlace the fingers. You're going to keep the hips anchored down. Lift for the ceiling, and then left elbow up for the ceiling, and then back to center. And then right elbow up to the ceiling, and then back to center. Trying to grow up and over. And again, up and over. 2 more to each side. And 1 more to each side. Then we're going to twist over to the right side and back to center. Then we twist over to the left side and back to center. And again, over to the right and over to the left. Good. Just got really excited because my rotation feels really nice. Good. 3 more. I also did just get an adjustment, so that's helpful. Last 2, stay growing tall. 1 more. Then you're going to take the right leg out, put the hands behind it, shoulders wide, nice and tall, straighten through the leg, and bend, and straighten, and bend. 2 more. Last one. Let's keep that leg straight. Let's point and flex the foot. The hands are up towards the ankle. Arms connected to the back. Keep the foot pointed, bottom foot is flexed. Start tilting back with an inhale. And exhale forward. And again, your inhale takes you back. Your exhale brings you forward. 1 more time. Staying back for tree. Or you can continue to tilt forward. Well, back and forth. So tilting back for tree, we walk down the leg and we walk back up the leg. It's like you're climbing down your tree and like you're going back up your tree. Again, climbing back down and back up. And one more. Bend the knee, place the foot over the opposite leg. Be even on both hip bones. And let's actually push down into the box right now and hinge forward with a flat back today. Take a few breaths here. A little different, kind of fun. And then coming back up. We're gonna switch legs. So right leg goes into the fuzzy loop. Make sure your hips are even. For any reason you feel like you're sitting only on one butt cheek, you probably are, and you want to be sitting on both. So both sits bones down, both hands behind the knee, shoulders wide to start straightening and bending that leg. Then after a few, the legs stay straight. We reach for the ankle, arms connected to the back to point and flex. Then the foot stays pointed for us to tilt back as the bottom one is flexed. Then we come back up. Bottom foot stays flexed to help you stay hooked. You're technically standing into that foot, so falling back should not be an issue. But safety first. So going back and forth. On the next one, we hold, where you can continue that pattern, but we go down for a tree, and back up. And again, we lower, and we lift. If you're not doing tree, you're just tilting back and forth. And we lift. 2 more. 1 more, try and keep the foot in the same spot the whole time. If that means that your tree is down here, your tree is down there. Okay? So bending that knee, foot over, push onto the box to create space between the ribs and the hips, and then tilt. Then we're going to sit back up. We're going to bend both feet onto the box. Once you're here, take one leg over the other one. And again, tilt. It's a little bit more of a stretch through like the hip. It's kind of fun. Stay up nice and tall. Switch sides. Again. Push to be tall. Hinge forward to where you are comfortable. Then you can come back up. We're going to put our box away. Once you put your box away, let's put the foot bar up in the high position. So for that, make sure that the little black knobs are still in, and then you are going to put it on the high one and then lock it in. That will make the foot bar a little bit higher than before. And let's switch to the 1 red center spring. Yes. So it's a heavy spring. So the 1 red spring. And then you're gonna walk yourself around to the other side. Well, I am. The right foot is gonna be right up against the corner edge of the reformer. The left foot will be standing onto the back shoulder block. 1 hand holds onto the foot bar for stability. Hips facing straight forward. We will bend at the knee and then come forward again. Trying to keep our hips and our shoulders straight out in front. This knee bends over the ankle. Good. 4 more times. Sternum straight out in front. Once more. And then the front leg will stay straight to go back to where you're comfortable. And then you come forward. And again, going back to where you're comfortable. And then you come forward. For 3, 2, And then once more. Over to the other side. Going to the other side. So, placing the foot against the wooden block part of the reformer, and then the back foot up against the shoulder block, toes curled forward. Both hips squared facing forward, same as the shoulders, one hand holding on for stability. The back leg's gonna press back to bend into the front knee, and then you'll come forward. For any reason you do think that the spring feels a little bit light, you can add the blue, and then you'll have the blue and the red. So just going back and coming forward, but we haven't changed the springs. No, wait, we did. I told you to do it. And coming back up. Good. Hips stay squared forward. Once more. And then front leg stay straight as you go back to where you can support and then come forward. And again, pressing back. Coming forward. Keeping all your toes down on the ground. For 3, 2, and once more. Good. So now we're going to do a little bit of a drill to have the back of our glutes connect. And what I'd like for you to do is to add all of the springs that you did your footwork with, so all of them at the center. The foot bar is going to stay up, your headrest is going to be down. You are going to go onto your back just like when you did your footwork. Your feet are going to be just a couple of inches apart, maybe 3. Hands firmly pressing into the mat. Push through the feet, squeeze through the glutes to lift your hips up. And then lower down one bone at a time. See if you can lift your hips up without moving the carriage. Have your nose straight for the ceiling, lift one bone at a time, and lower down one bone at a time. If you'd like to sync your breath, you can take an inhale to prep, exhale to lift, inhale at the top, and exhale to lower. Let's try that again. Inhaling to prep, exhale to lift, inhale at the top, and exhale to lower. On the next one, we are going to stay up, and then from here, the hips stay lifted as we press out and pull back in. And again, we press out and pull back in. 2 more times. And just like with footwork, if for any reason for springs feels too heavy, you can always drop the green. Last 2. And 1 more time. And then lowering down one bone at a time. Once you're all the way down, take the legs over the bar. Now the foot bar is higher than before, so doing a teaser might be a little bit harder. Let's bend the knees, hands up. That's also going to kind of give you a little bit of support. And then we'll try lifting like that. Good. Swing the legs over. Take off the green spring. You now have 2 reds and 1 blue. Back onto your back, we're doing that again. So, again, onto the arches. Bring the feet just a little bit closer than last time. Hands firmly pressing down. Lots of space for your throat. Let's try peeling up. So inhale, prep. Exhale, squeeze the glutes. Try and keep the carriage close. Lift up tall. Inhale up here. And then exhale to lower. Keeping the carriage close. Let's do that 2 more times. Your inhale preps you. Your exhale peels you up. Your inhale keeps you up here. Your exhale lowers you. On the next one, we press out. Ooh, high boots. So again, trying to keep the carriage closed as you prep. And then exhale to lift. And then inhale to press. Exhale to pull back in. Let's go for 6 total. So 4 more. 3, you can look for the wall behind you to help you keep your neck long. 2, and once more. Keeping your forehead relaxed, lower down bone by bone. Good. Let's try the teaser again, legs over, bent knees, hands up, take an inhale, connect to your body. Exhale, lift. Swing the other way. And then take off the blue spring. Back to center. Onto your back. Feet together at center. So right now you just have the 2 outside red springs. Firmly press into the hands. Let's try and keep the carriage close as we lift up with the exhale. And then lower back again. Let's try that again. So let's try and keep the carriage close again. Hands firmly pressing down. Tuck through the pelvis, take an inhale. Exhale, lift up. Carriage stays as close as possible. Lift as high as you can. Take an inhale up here. Exhale, lower down. Try and stay close. It's a little bit harder, I know, but it will help. Let's try it 2 more times. Shoulders wide to lift up tall. Hold for a breath. Exhale, lower. Oh, that's so hard. If it's really hard and your shoulders start to round like mine just did, open them again. 1 more try. See if your last one is your best one. If that did happen where your shoulders rounded, think about externally rotating the humerus, this bone, and squeezing through the back of the armpit. Good. Let's go up with an inhale. Well, inhale, prep. Exhale, let's go up. Keep the back of the armpit open. Breathe in. And then exhale to lower. Good. Let's go up and then press out and back in. So lifting tall. We'll press out to straight legs. Squeeze through the glutes. Pull back in 4 times. 3 more. Press out. Pull back in for 2. Oops. Press out. You're trying to avoid hitting home that hard. And 1 more. But you do want to try and close completely. And then lower down. Good job. Let's take the legs over the bar. Bend them a little. Hands for the ceiling. Inhale, connect to your body. Exhale, sit back up. Swinging to the first side. Let's add the blue and the green back on. Lower down your foot bar to the middle position. Back into your back. Oh, head rest up. Which you just pick up the little wood to put underneath. And back into your back. Firmly pressing the hands down into the mat. Back to your Pilates feet. Press out to straight legs. Lower the heels. Lift the heels. You're in the Pilates feet. Lower. And lift 1 more. From here, go to feet parallel. 1 lowers, the other one goes up. And switch. You're now doing running. Let's start to slowly pick up the tempo. Keeping the hips anchored. Knees tracking straight up and down. Eyesight for the ceiling. Well, nose for the ceiling. If you need to look at the screen, you can always tilt your eyesight down. Good. Even out both sides. And then bending both knees to come back in. Then going to the arches on the outside edge of the bar for pelvic lift. Tuck through the pelvis about 2 inches off the mat. Pressing out with an inhale. Exhale, pull back in. Again, press out. Try and close completely without slamming in. Or if you slam, then you know what that sounds like. Let's try to not do that. Good. 2 more. Last one. Lowering through the hips. Hands are going to grab onto the pegs. Keep the feet where they are. Drop the knees over to the right. Squeeze the left glute up a little bit so that it rolls over a tiny little bit. Back to center. Over to the other side. Squeeze the top glute. Back to center. One more to each side. This is a nice one to do after we did all of those shoulder bridges, just to get you to move your hips a little bit differently. Then we come back to center, legs over, squeeze them into each other, arms up. We'll take an inhale to connect to the body, and then the exhale brings us up. Then we step off and we do a roll down to end today. For your roll down, about hip width apart with your feet. Let's do it here. So about your own hip width apart with your feet. Let's pick up all of the toes. If you move back, that's okay, stay there. And then we're gonna engage the outside of the glutes, feeling like you're trying to turn your knees out. At one point, your pinky toes are gonna feel like they wanna reach out. Let them do that and then place them down. And then put your big toes down. From here, draw the abdomen in. Breathe in. And as you exhale, let the arms relax. Roll down one vertebra at a time. Just a little bit. Circling through the arms. Reverse the circles. Keep the feet connected to the ground. Take an inhale. And with your exhale, you roll back up to standing. And then you're all done for today. Good job. Thanks for joining class today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please clean up your equipment and we'll see you next time.